Hello and welcome to this video tutorial for Creo Parametric version 3. The aim of this video is to introduce users to the Creo software, particularly for those who have not used any solid modeling software before. In this video, we'll cover three main topics. First, we'll detail an introduction to solid modeling and computer-aided design. After that, we'll have a look at the Creo Parametric interface. And finally, we'll have a basic demonstration of opening a new part and manipulating the model in the Creo software. Solid modeling is used to create 3D parts within a computer, and this forms the foundation of computer-aided design, also abbreviated to CAD. CAD is a primary design tool used by engineers. There's several advantages to using this kind of software. It allows for quick prototyping and comparison of various designs. It's often cheaper than physically manufacturing a structure, so designs can be tested in quick succession. There's a few disadvantages. For smaller production runs, the cost of licenses can be quite expensive and prohibitive. Another disadvantage is just because it can be designed in the computer doesn't mean it can actually be manufactured in real life. This is also reflected in the garbage in equals garbage out principle. So if an object is designed poorly in a computer and the plans are sent to the workshop, there can be issues there with manufacturability. On the screen currently, we have several models that have been made within a solid modeling package. Typically, when you undertake modeling, you want to break components down to the most simple part and then make a model of that. Once simple models have been complete, these can be combined to form what's known as assemblies. So assemblies consist of one or more parts. They can be quite simple in nature, or they can become increasingly complex. Once an assembly has been made, this can be sent into a computer-aided engineering or CAE package, where you can run simulations to look at stresses, strains, structural responses, or fluid flow, and you can analyze your design further. Once an assembly has been complete, drawings are typically made, and these can be produced within Creo Parametric version 3. These detailed drawings are dimensioned appropriately for manufacture, and these designs can then be sent to a workshop for construction. Now that we have an understanding of the workflow of solid modeling, we can open Creo Parametric and become familiar with the interface. In our start bar, we will search for Creo, and we will open Creo Parametric. There are some other versions of Creo, such as Creo Direct or Creo Simulate. We won't be using those for this course. We want to select Creo Parametric. Once Creo has loaded, we will be presented with this screen. As you see, we have a very empty looking main workspace in the center. To the left, we have our folder structure, which can be useful for opening parts and saving files. And at the top, we have a menu ribbon, similar to most Microsoft applications, where we can create a new part or open an existing part. The first thing to do when creating a new part is to set our working directory. Our working directory is the main folder where our parts will be saved, and it's easy to open existing parts within Creo. So select our working directory, so we can click this icon. We can search through our folder structure and choose our folder. So this could be our student U drive or a flash stick or some sort of cloud-based file storage. Once we're happy with our path, we can select OK. Once this has been set, we can now open an existing part. So we will click Open, And in our working directory, we have a demo part. Notice there are underscores in this name. Creo cannot handle any spaces in any of its file names, so please replace any of those with underscores. Once we have chosen the part we want to interrogate, we can click Open. Once that part has loaded, the first thing we want to do is check the units, whether we're working in SI units or imperial units. We can do that through the main file menu. We can select Prepare, and we can check our model properties. We can select that option. And the options at the top here are for our units. And we note that these are in millimeters, kilograms, and seconds, which is good. This is what we want in our design. If that was, say, in inches and pounds, we can change that. And we can set that to another unit system. But we're going to leave this as is. And then close. You will now notice that our display has changed quite significantly. In the center, the part that we're working on is now displayed, and you can use the scroll wheel on the mouse to zoom in or zoom out. You can also use the zoom buttons on this view ribbon right up the top. So you can zoom in to interrogate various features, and then hit the refit button to zoom back out. In the View Manager, you can also align views, such as the back, bottom, or the front. You can also use the mouse while holding the Shift button to pan your model. So you can move that about the screen. On the left, our file structure tree has changed to a model tree. We can see our part name is listed and our main datum planes. So by default, Creo gives us a right datum plane, a top datum plane, a front datum plane, and an XYZ coordinate system. These can be turned on or off in our view ribbon at the top. We can either select all, and that can clean up our view, particularly for more complex models which may have dozens of datum planes. But we're going to leave this on for the rest of the demo. Once again, in the model tree, we can see our extrudes. These are methods of adding material to our model. So we can interrogate our first extrusion, which is highlighted in green, our second and third extrusion. Note that there is what's called a parent-child relationship. So our first extrusion governs the following two extrusions, whereas our second and third extrusions stand alone. So if I were to delete this extrusion by right-clicking and deleting, it would disappear from the model. And I can use Windows shortcut keys like Ctrl-Z to reverse that. If I were to delete the parent feature, which is the first extrude, and click OK, all the child features would be deleted, effectively removing the model. But we're going to undo that by pressing Ctrl-Z. The final thing that we will look at in this video tutorial is the top menu ribbon. The ribbon that's currently active is the model ribbon, and that contains features which are used to build our parts in Creo. So for example, we can create new datum planes and coordinate systems. We can sketch various features. We can then extrude or revolve parts. Extrusions and revolves are the two most common methods, which will be demonstrated in these video tutorials. We can also add features such as holes, rounds, and chamfers. We can then pattern parts and do other higher level operations such as boundary blends. In the Analysis tab, we can interrogate our model. For instance, we can use the Measure tool to calculate distances, model masses for production costs, or surface areas if we want to paint that model. We also have other lesser used model features such as Annotate, where we can list surface finishes. We can also render the model, so we can apply photorealistic renders. There's also other tools and view options if we wanted to create cross sections. There's other higher level modeling features which we won't be using for this course, and further applications if we want to do a world analysis or some sort of structural simulation. This brief look at the Creo interface now concludes the first tutorial video. The next video will cover basic extrusions.